Hey, how's it going, everybody? So I have just some small opinions. This is just about the Matt Chandler thing. If anybody, the Christian community, if you know about Matt Chandler, he's a popular pastor. I guess it's this place called the Village. I'm not sure where is that. But my point behind all that. Oh shoot, sorry. But yeah, this place is it, it seems to be a pretty decent church. Theology, not too sure about it. I'm pretty sure it's like non-denominational or whatever. But my point behind all that is just to point to the stuff that happened. Now, this is, I guess I'll give the context. So the context is essentially Matt Chandler is, he's doing his thing, his passion thing. He gets called out by a member of the church, and this person calls him out, tells him that he's been talking a little much with this her friend, and he takes a look at it, and he's like pretty convinced that he didn't show any romantic intent because the dude's married, and so he shows his wife, he shows the elders, and the elders they take a look at it, decide among themselves, and they say, okay, we're just gonna give you, we're gonna give you a leave of absence. So he's not gonna be preaching or teaching for a little bit. And then he confesses this before his church. Now, mind you, I'm not married, um, so it hits a little different for me as a single person. But one thing I thought it was just kind of God glorifying because you see so many pastors do all this weird stuff, and then they have to step down because they have to, because it's hurting everything. It's hurting their social life. It's hurting this. It's hurting that. Now, one thing I think I just glorify God. Not that he stepped down, but that they handled it. Both Matt Chandler and his elders group, they handled it with such just dignity and like discretion. And I'm trying to, how can I describe this? I guess dignity is the right word for it, but it was just done so well, you know. Now, mind you, all he was doing was talking to this lady. It could have, if you've seen it from a single perspective, it could have came off as a friendship, just a platonic friendship. And yes, they both were married. This lady he was talking to, and it was no romantic intent scene. However, slippery slopes do happen, and so a dude in his position can quickly fall into a slippery slope, be talking to this person, and then feelings emerge, and then it goes down there because it'll graduate. It always will graduate. Now, mind you, he could have just been they could have just been talking about math equations or whatever. Who knows? But the fact that this person called him out, and he thought, okay, they said this is an issue. I didn't know this was an issue. He went to his elders. The elders looked at it. They had him. They had to look at it and be convinced that, okay, this seems like it could have led somewhere, and you could have, you maybe should have discontinued this relationship, even if it was platonic, because he has to be above reproach, right? And they do say that teachers are held to a higher standard. So the elders had him step down, just like a leave of absence. He's still a senior pastor, as far as I understand. But I just thought that was wonderful. Not the fact that he stepped down, but just how great they handled it. And he said, his family said, and the thing is just he wasn't hiding nothing. He didn't. This thing didn't blow up in his face. This thing, somebody talked to him. It became an issue. He forwarded. I mean, he sent it to the proper channels. Sent it to his wife to communicate it and say, "This is what happened. This is somebody told me about this. I need you to look at this so you can see if there's some issues here." He forwarded to his elders so that they can keep him in check, the checks and balances. And mind you, and like this Carl Lentz situation, the Mars Hill situation, all these other scandals and stuff that happen in these churches, you just didn't see any of that. You didn't see any accountability. You seen with Mark Driscoll was out here just thinking he was the bee's knees and the champion of the world, led by God's grace, and you see how he felt. You seen charismatic speaker Carl Lentz, just singing, just saying great things about folks, and as far as I know, giving good sermons, very charismatic. And then turns out he's doing his thing, unfortunately doing something he's not even supposed to do. Um, but that's just but again, I hope this is a blueprint for people to follow, because this is so important for people to just, even even by the suspicion even by suspicion, to be above reproach means to be above suspicion. So he was like, yo, I'm not gonna be out here known as that, um, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna confirm, I'm gonna uh validate, I'm gonna run it through people, and especially my wife. Like, I think that's amazing. Now mind you, I brought up I seen this book from this comedian. His name is Kevin Fredericks. He has a handle, Kev on Stage. I think he has a book. And so this book, part of it speaks about something similar, and that he had to discontinue a chat, and which he did. He sent it to his wife. He's like, no, cut that off. And then that happened. So I didn't read like too much into it, but it was just really surprising. I was like, wow, this stuff is kind of shocking. Like this stuff happens. People um, they talk and stuff like that, and it's very platonic. I think she just baked him a cake or something like that, and it was chatting. But the thing is that this stuff can go to an escalate, to a slippery slope. Now, mind you, yeah, you can have trust and all that. I don't know about what a marriage entails. I really don't. But I do recognize that, like, you have to be careful. You got, like, things can graduate very quickly, and things can go very quickly. So it's like, if you talk to somebody, sorry, I thought about this. So what happened? I hate this in dating, but sometimes people will ghost you and they don't really give you an explanation why, and then they'll tell you like some justifications. I don't have to talk to you, but mind you, um, he tried to do this, and then the lady was all confused. Wait, you're not gonna say good morning or nothing? And then she spazzed out on him. She spazzed out on her husband. Um, and that's just funny because he's like, I just ghosted her. I thought she was gonna take the hint, but the thing is, just it might be just a one sided thing where it's just something that women do, in my opinion. But yeah, no, sometimes you just gotta break stuff off that just seems like it could go somewhere. And that's just my point in all this. It's just um like I really hope churches will get used to just making decisions to not just protect the brand and stuff like that. And I just hope they start making like above reproach decisions. That's like, could this be led somewhere? Because that, mind you, all of this happened after a cascade, a cascading effect of fallen church leaders who fell into some stuff because they didn't get no checks and balances. They didn't run this through proper channels, or run this through credible people, or seek counsel or anything. They just thought they could big boss it themselves, and then it turns out they didn't. It blew up in their face, and the scandals went around. Twitter fingers going around, and then people. It's weird, but that's just Twitter for you. Now people saying, as far as I know, I'm listening at this Ruslan video. They're like, oh, he's not repenting. I'm like, no, that he's doing proper repentance, steps of repentance. He stepped down, he admitted it, he confessed it, he's making changes. Like that's repentance to me. What they say, godly repentance is being sad and then doing something about it. Where worldly repentance is just being sad and not doing anything about it. It's what's that? First Corinthians 13. Like, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror and not remembering what you saw. So it's like, you gotta be mindful and intention. I mean, show intention, and that's what I think Matt Chandler did for something that didn't even really, like, nothing really happened. It just, the idea of something could happening, like, and that sensitivity is so important. I think it's so important for a church to be very mindful and very sensitive of topics, and that you shouldn't have had like a bunch of church leaders to fall to pick that up. That this stuff is in the Bible, like, be above reproach. And so I think this is just a great in-person personal example of just practicing church discipline properly. Because again, he didn't technically do anything wrong. He just did stuff that was like suspicious, that could have been taken suspiciously, and he's supposed to be above that. He's supposed to be above suspicion. So I hope in due time they'll bring him back up, and that he's a bit more mindful. And mind you, like again, like he's not committing scandals. He just did it off a suspicion. So mind you, when he gets back, he'll be like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be above reproach. So hopefully, if I get into a similar situation again, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm like, hey, thank you, appreciate it, but for the sake of my purity, maybe not purity, but for the sake of myself and my marriage, I'm gonna have to discontinue this. So, and I'm like, just being responsible. And that's it. There's not really much to it. I feel like people are grasping at straws because we are so used to it and so expected of not just dragging a pastor, but so used to seeing just just horrendous crashes of sorry, that was a little stutter. Just crashes, horrendous failures of pastors, and where people glee, like I think that glee also is just from expectation of just seeing pastors just do such heinous crimes and just heinous, almost criminal type activities that will lead them to just great shame, especially against the name of Christ. But the thing is, this isn't the case, in my opinion. I don't think this is the case. I know people are just out for blood and they so used to just using their Twitter fingers to crush people, but this for real just isn't the case. This is just a practicing Christian. Uh, I'm not even sure. I think I'm having clang speech. That's like I feel like impulsive to say stuff, but I do feel like this is just the best outcome. Just like this should be a standard. There should be a pure standard of how church discipline is supposed to run. You're not supposed to be like, oh, you can discipline me now. I've been super bad now. It's like, no, like we correct you so that you can get used to having a sensitive mind, a sensitive heart about stuff. So that when you do stuff and when you do stuff that's even close to it, you don't touch the fire. You just make sure your hand is warm enough so that you can back away. Like you don't have to burn. You don't have to sit here and land on a grenade and then try to survive. You can just hear the beeping and then keep your distance. Like you really don't have to experience that pain. Isn't that part of repentance? Isn't that part of the bodies to help the body be more cautious? And I guess that's it, man. I thought that was just what sanctification and repentance and all these other things were meant to do. It's supposed to save you spiritually, of course, yes. But in the body, it's supposed to help you be more accountable, be more self-accountable, self-aware. Sorry, self-aware, and be holding yourself accountable. Not this craziness of just your whole life collapsing before you. It should have never been went that way. Like regardless if you're a celebrity or not, or well known or not, you should have never gotten to the point where you're steeped in this type of stuff. Like it should have been like I seen it from a mile away, and I seen how bad it is, and I'm keeping my distance. But yeah, we're human. I get it. I get it. I just hope this is a cautionary tale. And again, I get it. How it sounds is just it just doesn't match what's happening, but it should be so sensitive. We our desire to be like Christ should be so sensitive like that. And this is also me speaking to myself, where if it's things that just allude into it, we should just be very leery of it, very cautious, very aware. Um, and so, yeah, that's it, y'all. Yeah. God bless, bye.